Well, good evening, guys. I thought this evening I would do a connect to your mobile phone quick tutorial and just show you what the app can do. It's very simple. It doesn't do a lot, which is a shame. There's a lot more scope for other things it could have done. There's a couple of little annoying things that I wish it could do because it would make things so much nicer. Two things it can't do is touch to focus, which is quite annoying, and also when it's shooting bulb, it doesn't give you a timer. If it had a live timer, it would be so handy just to see, oh, just have a quick glance at your phone. Oh, I've been doing it for a minute or 2 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever. You kind of have to come out of it and leave a timer running or a countdown timer or something to give you, that amount of time. So, yeah, it's one of those things. Anyway, as you can see here, if I come out of there, let's turn the light back on. There we go. You can see the camera up there at the top is in a RAW and obviously HD 50p at the minute. If you look below that, you've got an airplane sign. That means the camera is in airplane mode, which means no Wi-Fi, no Bluetooth, nothing else is on that is basically draining the battery quicker. So it's something I have on 99% of the time, unless I'm using my phone as a remote, which is quite rare. But if I'm doing low light stuff out in the countryside in the dark and stuff like that, I probably will use it. The RX10 doesn't have an infrared remote control, unfortunately, or sensor to pick up a remote control. The other cameras do. So the A7R4, A1, A9, all that sort of stuff does have an infrared remote control receiver, which is a shame they didn't put it in here. But anyway, not the end of the world, because as we're about to find out, we can connect our phone and use it that way. So if we go into the menu and you go along to the third menu option at the top, which is the globe, which is in green, if you scroll down to the airplane mode, so like I say, I use it on airplane mode most of the time. It's up to you if you want to, but basically I have it on at the moment, which means if we go into there, it's going to be ghosted out. So what we do is we go to airplane mode quickly, turn it off, and now we can go into control with smartphone. Control with smartphone I have turned on, which means basically you can control your smartphone with it, even if you're connected via Wi-Fi and you don't want to control it with your smartphone, you just want to send pictures and stuff, it just stops you doing things by accident. I have it always connected, which means it doesn't have to ask permission, or it won't try and not connect. Basically, have it always connected, it will, as soon as it finds your phone, it will connect, which is the way you want it, really. Connection wise, it's now going to show us the QR code, and on the app, so you need to download the Sony Imaging Edge mobile app, and as you'll see, when you open it, you get connect to camera, and it will say select connect with new camera and connect with the camera. So I've got connect with a new camera, so you click on that, and then you see a thing about a QR code. You can do it a couple of other ways, but this QR code is the easiest way because it's right there. So we're going to click scan, and basically my phone has now asked me for permission, so I've gone yep, okay, and you'll see it connect straight away, and then that is as simple as that. It is now connecting to the camera. A few seconds later we are now connected. You should see an image come up on the phone. There you go. So it's as simple as that. There's a few downsides with the RX10, is because the lens actually has a manual aperture ring, it doesn't have an auto option on it. So on my G Master lenses you can actually click it to A, which gives you auto, which means you can use either a wheel on the back of the camera and control your apertures like that if you don't want to use the aperture ring. This doesn't have that, so basically when you're in manual mode, all I've got is shutter speed, which obviously I can adjust quickly using the app, and ISO, so I can go to auto or whatever you want. I can't adjust my aperture unless I put my finger on the camera, which you can see me wobbling the camera around, but as you can see now the aperture is going up. Oh, and the zoom. So yeah, it's one of those things. It's kind of a little bit restrictive in that area, especially for someone like myself who shoots in manual 95% of the time ish. Very rarely in any other modes really. But obviously we do have shutter priority, which gives us shutter priority, aperture priority, which is the annoying bit, is you have to adjust it via the camera. And then we have P mode. Put it in P mode, we can adjust. This is the only one you can adjust it in. It does allow us to adjust it manually. So we can go up to F10 for example. We need a 1.6 second exposure. The annoying thing about that is obviously we adjust that and it's basically keeping the exposure correct, but that's why you have the exposure EV dial that we can adjust and change our exposure by quite a bit. But it is a bit restrictive. Obviously if we change the ISO a little bit, we can get a better shutter speed, but obviously if we're keeping the ISO down, it's going to restrict it a little bit. So obviously it's not quite manual, but it does allow some control. We also have white balance adjustment, single shooting or multiple burst rates, timer, so if you want to use a timer, preview button, so we can look at a photo we've taken and it's transferred it over, menu, which gives us a few options here or there, got review mode, so I've got it turned off, but you can have a 2-second review automatically, self timer, continuous shooting modes, flash, basically everything you can do already. Rule of thirds on the viewfinder, which I have on, what I quite like, just helps me compose images a bit better. And other than that, it's basically there. Obviously you can zoom in and out, which works fine. Other than that, we're a little bit limited really, but like I say, for me, I normally have it in manual mode anyway, and I'm not necessarily shooting on from the camera, miles away from the camera, sorry. So if I was to shoot at ISO 64 for example, and there's no lighting and we can't see that, I can now go bulb, and then as you can see here we've now got a slider, so obviously it will focus, the camera will try and focus because it was dark. This is where I'll probably use manual focus, but let's put the light on for a second so we can get it in focus. I would probably, if it was me next to the camera, which I would be, I would put it in manual focus once I've focused it anyway, turn my torch off or whatever, and then click bulb. And as you can see now, it's shooting bulb, but I don't know how long for, there's no timer, anything like that, which is a little bit annoying because I'd love to be able to find out, if there's a little counter timer here, just below it says bulb, it's just a counter, it just goes up and up and up. I can go, oh, it's just done 10 minutes, or it's done 30 seconds, or it's done whatever. I can go, okay, I only needed to do that long, I can now finish my picture. There we go. And that saved the picture there. There you go. So the only way to find out how long my exposure was is to go into the information there, scroll down, and find out that I had it at 72mm, f3.5, 33 seconds was the exposure, ISO 64, and that was the date and the time I shot it. That's it really. You can then star rate your picture, so if it was a good picture or not, and that's it. So you can come out and change your exposures to do whatever, but yeah, it is a little bit limited, but works really, really well. The difference in being now is if we go back into airplane mode and put airplane mode on, it's now disconnected. The only trouble I've got, I'm in my house, so it's now, my phone has now automatically gone from the Wi-Fi on the camera back to my house Wi-Fi. If I'm out and about in the middle of nowhere, or just generalisation where I've got no other Wi-Fi my phone recognises and doesn't normally log on to it, and I turn it back out of Wi-Fi mode, or airplane mode, sorry, it should connect again. It should appear again in a moment, hopefully. There we go, back in. Basically, if you're out and about with less Wi-Fi around that, obviously, so like I said, you're not connected to, it doesn't do that. It's basically just causes you a load of hassle. it should be absolutely fine. But if worse comes to worse, you can literally force it into that Wi-Fi connection, which I had to do. Other than that, that's kind of what the app can do. So guys, yes, it can also do video and the HFR mode, like high frame rate, slow motion video as well. You can also do a few other bits and pieces also, but for most of the average user, we are just going to use it as a remote control, plus obviously copying over a few images here or there. So it's pretty simple to use, but I'd say it's pretty basic as well, which is a little bit annoying, but you can get by. There's a lot of things, you know, we have to just change techniques a little bit and, you know, whatnot to actually get what we really want. So hopefully they may update it at some point, but they have done the A1 update with the pinch and also touch for focus and everything. So I don't know if we will ever see it on this due to obviously hardware differences and things like that, but it would be nice if we could adjust the focus points as well via the app rather than just having to use the back of the camera as normal. But not the end of the world. There's plenty of things you can do with this. There are other apps out there, a couple of other free ones which, you know, do work, but or they do have quite often have a, you know, you need to buy this to make this work and you need to buy that to make that work, or also there are some other pay ones there, but I don't know without buying things if they actually have the push to focus. They probably don't. If Sony haven't implemented it, they probably don't have the option either. So yeah, that's all I can say really. Anyway, I hope the video is interesting and helpful to some people. Please let me know below in the comments, and also don't forget to click the subscribe button, little notification bell as well. Please share my videos and the channel, that'd be great. I'm almost at 5,000 subscribers, which I never thought I'd ever do. I was never expecting to get above 100, to be fair. I just did it as a bit of fun, but it's done better than I thought. Got a few new toys coming very, very soon, so watch out for those, and I shall see you soon. Take care.